want to share with you another really interesting case of the month in April. We really see some interesting things in veterinary medicine, and what I'm trying to share with you is some of the interesting cases and the interesting pets that come in. And this one was truly one that I had not seen in 43 years of veterinary practice. So what happened was that Daniel moved here from California and actually had some problems with Brutus, his big boxer, and took him to an emergency hospital one evening. And the problem was that he had his penis that had actually been extracted or was hanging out of his prepuce. And usually that causes, the cause of that is that the prepuce will kind of invert and the penis gets stuck out and circulation gets compromised, and so they just, you have to put it back in. So that's what they did at the emergency hospital. And he called me the next day and said, this thing is still not right. They call that paraphimosis, which is a technical term, but that's what happens is that little dogs, sometimes that happens, and that the prepuce will invert, kind of turning the hairs in, and a piece or portion of the penis will be out, and the circulation will be compromised, and so we just have to get it back in. And I thought that's what we're dealing with. Well, Brutus came in, really a great dog, and Daniel had just moved here. He was strapped for funds, and so I said, let me take a look at Brutus. So he brought him in, and this dog came in, and I was really surprised because he had about probably 4 to 5 inches of his penis sticking out. It looked about the size of a knockwurst, and it was black. And I'm thinking, man, this dog has got problems. So we're going to have to sedate him. We took him right in and sedated him, and to my surprise, I thought we were just going to invert, get the prepuce back, put it back in. But what had happened was that this penis had been damaged somehow to the point that it had, his circulation, his nerve supply, everything was just gone. He couldn't urinate properly, and it was a real critical disaster. And I had never seen a dog that needed to have his penis amputated, but that's exactly what we were going to have to prepare to do. So I went back out and did some anatomy review, and we ended up having to amputate Brutus's penis and make him another hole to urinate out of, just about where the scrotum is. We make an incision in the urethra, so when he urinates, he squats like a girl or lifts his leg and does that. But Brutus was such a good dog, and Dan had family back home that was willing to help him with the expense of that. And we were willing to do whatever it took because Brutus was such a terrific dog. He's not here right now at the initial filming of this, but he's going to come in next week, and I want you to meet him and see the results. This was back in the first part of April, so about a month ago, and he's doing extremely well. The recovery period on these dogs was pretty bad. We actually had to remove his entire penis and make him a new hole to urinate out of. But the success was that the initial weekly aftercare is pretty critical because there's pretty significant bleeding from the incision site. So I want you to meet Brutus. I'll show you the surgery. He looks just like a female, except he's a male. Here's what happened, though. This was the interesting part about this that you'll find interesting, maybe. That Brutus was castrated, and he lives with a female that's intact. So what happened was that this female came into season, and Brutus has a very good memory, so he actually bred, I'm assuming this is what happened, it's the only thing that probably could have done this, bred this female. They actually got locked up. He can't conceive because he has no testicles. And when they got locked up, she probably ran around, they get hung up, and just stretched his penis to the point of damage that was beyond repair. So that's what we finally concluded because she was in season. I couldn't understand what in the world would cause a penile injury like that. But that's what happened. A castrated male bred an intact female and totally damaged his penis. But I wanted you to see Brutus after the fact, look at the surgery, and you'll get to meet him at the end of this video. But he's going to come in next week, and we'll schedule a time so that you can meet him and see that he's doing great. The recovery period was critical, but overall he's done well, and we're going to make a star out of him. But that was really a fascinating case, and the only time in 43 years that I've had to amputate a penis. We've done a lot of penile lacerations and some other things, but I've never had to cut one off before. So that was an interesting case for me, and a classic case of a success story of a great dog recovering and doing well. So this has kind of been a long video, but I want you to meet Brutus, and I wanted you to see that this is April 2012, case of the month, a candidate for probably case of the year. So we'll see Brutus in a few minutes. Thanks. All right, this is the good part. This is to meet Brutus. This is the dog we talked about that had an illicit affair with his roommate and had to amputate his penis. As you can see, this is where he's flush, and there's a little bit, everything is healed up well, and this is the hole back here where he urinates out of. But let me show you, I don't know if you can see, that's how he looks with everything normal. But you can see what a great dog he is. Dan told me that he's urinating well and doing well, and he's been a great success story and an unusual case. So he's a happy boy, and he is a boy, all boy. He just doesn't have all of his equipment. But he's urinating well and doing well, and so great success story and for a great dog. We were worried about him for a long period of time. But he's living happily, and hopefully he'll live a long time. So Brutus is a good boy. Brutus, can you say hello to the camera? You're such a pretty boy. Yes, you are. Thank you.